All right, hey guys, this is AJ Unlimited here to bring you the very first episode of my podcast, Totally Rigged. This is going to be a very trial and error process. I've done no preparation whatsoever before starting this. I literally just hit the record button and I'm just going to go for it here. Complete shot in the dark. And that's it. Hopefully, it won't be too much of a train wreck. But the goal here is I won't be editing any of this. This is going to be very raw and very open, very honest, transparent, very human. I don't want to do all these fancy edits and try to like polish it up and make it absolutely perfect. I'm just going to sit here and speak directly from my heart and speak the truth, the whole truth, and the only truth, if you will. So, first of all, I just wanted to, as a disclosure, mention that we did do, my buddy and I, Zach, we did a podcast episode. It was called Opening It Up. And we were discussing women in this world. And like Chad, Tyrone, and Pablo is what we call them, basically like douchebags that take advantage of women, maybe manipulate women for sex and such, and then they infect their what we call CDS or Chad derangement syndrome into their bodies and brains and get them hooked on the dick and whatnot. And so we were talking about all this stuff and how women tend to be psychopaths as well, and how women aren't perfect either, And I told some of my stories of girls that I've tried to date, and they brutally, from my perspective, brutally took my heart, ripped it in half, and handed it back to me, and in very, very nasty, just ignorant, narcissistic ways, and in ways that they had no business doing. And I'll get into that more possibly later on, and I will put. Sorry for that little lip smack. I'll try to edit some of that. So I'll put the link to that podcast episode. We only did one episode. We were supposed to do more, but it kept getting pushed back more and more and more. And then all of a sudden, he just completely fell off the face of the planet. I haven't heard from him in like a month. He hasn't returned my calls or my texts. I hope he's okay. I don't know what's going on. Apparently, last thing he told me through text was he's preparing for Hurricane Milton. But he lives in Virginia. I don't know if I should even say that, but I said it. And I don't think they really got affected that badly by that hurricane. I was looking at the weather down there like the past 2 weeks, and it was nothing but bright, sunshiny days. So, whatever. I'm not going to bother him too much or throw him under the bus. I still love him, and I hope to hear back from him soon. But I mentioned this in my video last week that I did announcing this podcast, just kind of saying that I'm sick of waiting. I'm sick of waiting. I'm sick of trying depending on others to get something done. We're supposed to be partners in this, and he just wasn't showing up. I don't know how else to put it. And I'm like, I need to do this podcast because I have a lot to say and I want to let it out. And I don't it's like therapy for me. I don't know. Like him and I used to talk about this stuff a lot, and then now I don't have anybody to talk to about it for whatever reason. So that's cool. I don't even care. I just, once again, if he's listening, I just please call or text me back soon, whatever. Like the line is always open, the door is always open, etc. And I'll be putting a few links in this podcast. I'll be putting in I'll be putting in a link to that podcast. Opening It Up is what we called it, and that'll be in the description, as well as, I don't know, some other stuff. I'm going to be getting into a lot of detail today. So there'll probably be a few links to a few different things, but for now I'm just kind of taking it a step at a time. But here we are, Totally Rigged, episode 1, season 1. I don't know if I'm going to do it in seasons or episodes. I might just have it the continuous thing. But today we are talking about, what was I feel like I was going to say something else. Oh, the name. Okay, so Totally Rigged. The story behind why this why I named it this, Totally Rigged, is because my dad had a cover band way back years and years ago, like in 2001, 2002, and then it was like on and off type of thing for well over a decade. Even my brothers and myself were part of it for a little while, and he played with some of the neighbors, well, one of the neighbors, and then just a few other random people that would come over, and they would either play in the basement at my old house, or he would go over to someone else's house and they would play, and they would just do a bunch of like 60s, 70s cover songs, like the Rolling Stones and like Tom Petty. And I mean, my dad's almost 70 years old, so that's like he grew up on that stuff. He lived on that stuff when he was a kid, so he learned the guitar, and one thing led to another, and they started this cover band. And how they got that name was a funny story, because I guess they were preparing for their first gig, and unpaid gig, obviously. No one would ever pay money to see them. But anyway, so they were at the neighbor's house, and they were playing. They were trying to play an outdoor show in the driveway, in like the garage, the driveway. But I guess they were expecting rain that night, so they were trying to set up this like awning or whatever you want to call it, put like to obviously so to have protection, shelter from the rain. And the neighbor, his name is Dan, he was trying to tie a rope or something to like a pole, trying to set this thing up, and he couldn't figure it out. He couldn't get it. And keep in mind, like this whole time, like they still haven't had a name for their band. They were literally like they were tripping over themselves trying to figure it out, like white knuckling it, and they couldn't come up with a name that they all agreed with. And this Dan was trying to set up this awning, and I guess after many attempts of doing it, trying it and failing, he just kind of mumbled, "Man, this thing is totally rigged." And then I guess my dad like lit up like a light bulb, and he said, "That's it. That's the name. That's the name for our band." And it stuck. And they made T-shirts and everything, but they no longer exist. And I had one for a while. So Totally Rigged. And then so the band, kind of just broke up slowly over the years, and then now we're all kind of split up, and we just don't. I haven't even. I played the bass, and I haven't even picked up the bass in a year, at least. So you get the point. Like it's pretty much done and over with. And my brother, who was the lead singer at one point, actually lives in Florida now, and the rest of us live up here in Illinois. So it's like pretty much done for, and which is unfortunate because it was a lot of fun. But when my buddy and I were talking about our podcast that we wanted to do, we were it was like the same thing. We were like tossing around names, and we couldn't quite land on something. And I was like, wait a minute, what about Totally Rigged? Maybe I can use that name. That's a cool name. And I don't know, I think it's a cool podcast name, right? Totally Rigged. I don't know, it rolls off the tongue really well, and it's kind of a play on words, right? Like the world is so screwed up and crazy, chaotic, and just especially around with this election coming up, it's just everything is just so batshit crazy, off the charts, pure chaos in the world. And so Totally Rigged kind of plays into that. So, and I wanted to honor the band. I wanted to honor their efforts and just that chapter of our lives and what it did to us. Because that band, when I got into it, that band is what got me introduced to like the Rolling Stones and stuff. And then I kind of like got hooked on all that 60s and 70s music, and then later on like 80s stuff. But that's what I live for now. I love listening to that stuff. I've been trying to listen to all those albums, like of all those classic rock bands, just because I want to educate myself and I want to become a certified rock and roll fan, if you will. Plus, I do want to open up like a bar and stuff one day and do DJing and such. So whatever, that's cool. But I wanted to honor that band. Also, one of the members of the band, his name was DT. He passed away a few years ago, very suddenly and kind of tragically. He fell and hit his head, and that was it. He just died. It was later on, not like right there. He was taken to the hospital, and then he died later on. And he was a really cool guy. He was like the backbone of that band for a little while. and he actually started calling me Double A because my initials AA. Well, my real initials, my YouTube initials are AJ because J is my middle name. But my real initials AA. I'm not gonna say my last name, but anyway, so he started calling me Double A, and I actually almost named my YouTube channel that. Believe it or not, I almost named my YouTube channel Double A Unlimited, or just Double A, whatever. But and I settled with AJ because AJ is just a cooler name and whatever. But that's besides the point. So cheers to DT and all them, and just cheers to that band. And I already reached out to all, my dad and my brothers, and they gave me permission to use this name, so hopefully I won't get sued. But it's a nice, it just ties it all together, I suppose. And I like totally the name. No offense to my buddy if he's listening, but I like this name over opening it up, because that's like too many syllables, too many mouth muscles you have to use to say that. So Totally Rigged is just like I said, it just has a nice ring to it, and it sounds cooler to me for a podcast name. So with all that being said, this episode, very first episode of this podcast, I am going to be talking about this upcoming presidential election and why we must get Trump back in the White House, why you must vote for Donald Trump, and why he must win this election, why he must become president again. Now, I'm going to be very brutally honest here. Again, this is going to be relatively uncensored and very raw and open and honest, and probably a little bit rated R at times, because I may or may not be cursing. I don't really know. I don't see why not. Rainn Wilson does it in his podcast. So I also should kind of give him a shout out. Him and Office Ladies, I love them so much. The Office Ladies podcast, and then Rainn Wilson, while they had the first one, he had it's called Metaphysical Milkshake with Reza Aslan, and I listened to that whole thing. And then he started this Soul Boom podcast, and I've been listening to that. And not only is it really fun and fascinating, and I learn a lot, but it's nice to hear like these office actors' voices, especially like because I listen to this stuff at work, and I'm not gonna say what I do for a living, but it's nice to be able to put my little earbud in and hear their voices and laugh with them, and just kind of feel like I'm part of the conversation. So big shout outs to them, Rainn Wilson, Jenna Fisher, Angela Kinsey, and co, all of them, because they are my main inspiration for doing this, and I feel like I need to pay it forward. I need to pay forward the favor, the gift of just education, I guess, and having just a friendly voice in my ear, if you will. So hopefully I have a nice enough voice for whoever's listening to this. So, yeah, about the election, we are currently 2 weeks out from this election, and I feel like I need to speak up, because I'm very, very passionate about this one. I'll tell you what, I never, ever, ever cared about politics in my entire life growing up, ever. It was the most boring, disgusting thing for me to have to sit through other adults talking about it, my dad and like my brothers, and keep in mind, I'm the youngest of 6. So there's a lot of stuff that's happened that's been discussed up, more in the family, like, what do you call it, the pyramid, and stuff that sort of trickled down, and that has, just struck a chord with me. And I just never cared about it, because I did have a very sheltered life growing up. I never was really affected badly by the economy or taxes or anything. And, my dad had a good job and made a good living, and we lived in a very nice house and had everything we can ever need in life and more. And I just took it all for granted. That was just whatever. It was just how it was. It wasn't like I felt lucky or blessed or that I wanted more or I needed more. It was just everything was good. Everything was okay growing up, all the way up until I was 18, really. My dad was somewhat abusive. He had a temper, and we had a very, very rocky relationship for like my childhood and going into my teenhood. Now we're solid as a rock. Now we're like best buds. But back then it was very like he was kind of like it was a very dictatorship type household. And my mom was always very passive and always drinking and never really said, she never spoke up. Kind of hid away in her little room, whatever. But that's a whole other topic for a different discussion. I just wanted to give you guys a wee bit of a background, kind of a setup, icebreaker as to how I became such a Trump supporter. Because growing up, like, yeah, okay, so I never cared about politics, and everything was like fine. I mean, when I was born, I think it was Jimmy Carter or Bill Clinton. Who the hell was? I should do more research. But not that it really. I think it was Clinton, Bill Clinton. Who was president? Let me look this up. Who was president? 1995. Yeah, it was Bill Clinton. Who was just, that man is not a good man. So why was I thinking Carter? When was Jimmy? Yeah, that was way back. That was in the 70s. Okay. Well, shit. I don't, this is, like I said, trial and error. I am not going to make excuses for not doing all my research or being fully prepared. I'm just doing this just to do it. So whatever. I don't even care. So Bill Clinton was president when I was born, but I was a little baby. I didn't know. And then he became president. And I do actually remember, was it the 2000 election? It had to have been. And I do remember a little bit about that. I was only like 5 years old, but I remember just hearing about it. I remember it was kind of a big deal. And that came and went, and we had George Bush as president for those 8 years. And everything was just normal. Everything was okay for the longest time. And I just remember, yeah, there was not a care in the world. I mean, I don't remember like hearing anything bad about him. Like, I know like afterwards that people kind of started to shit all over him. But while he was in office, it was like everything was just normal and okay and whatever. And then Obama got elected in 2008, and I was in 8th grade. And I remember that being like the end of the world for my dad and my aunt, my super religious aunt. We're a bunch of Catholics, so I'm sure you can understand where that's going. But I just remember like the devastation and despair when Obama was elected. And I obviously still didn't really understand what was going on. I was just going with it. Like, oh yeah, we hate him. I shouldn't say the word hate, but he's no good, like whatever, he's going to destroy this country, and he's pro-choice, he's all this stuff, like very liberal, very Democrat, and like people were saying he's the Antichrist, people were saying all this crazy stuff. And like I said, like my family, especially my extended family, my aunt Linda is like super crazy religious, Catholic. I shouldn't even say religious. She is like very Catholic. Like she lives, eats, breathes Jesus Christ in the Catholic Church. Is all she ever talks about. That's her life. But she takes it way too far, like way too often. Like she'll, just if you say, "Oh my God," she'll be like, "Gosh," like she'll get in your face about it. And it's like all she ever talks about. But so she was paranoid, and my grandma, her mom, she used to, because she comes from a very, very crazy background. Like my grandmother, her name is Elizabeth. She escaped Slovenia when she was like a kid, and then like lived. She always says that I was the poorest of the poor. Lived a very poor life for a very long time. Eventually, she met my grandpa and escaped and moved here to America and built a life here, and the rest is history. But like she did her research and read all these prophecies and like inside and out, backwards and forth, or whatever you want to call it. And Sorry, I just had to burp. So she was already kind of like paranoid about it. And then once Obama kind of liked it, she was like, oh no, this is it. And she's like one of those doomsday like preppers. So she was kind of like saying like, oh, the sky is falling. Like, this is it. Like, shit's about to hit the fan. And the world's going to go to hell now. And then my Aunt Linda sort of got brainwashed and started saying the same stuff. And nothing really happened, and I still was like completely in the dark about everything. I didn't know what was going on with the economy. I didn't know. If anything, I didn't really mind Obama at first because everybody loved him. And I was like, well, if everybody's happy, what's the big deal? But I was so naive and young and dumb. I didn't know any better. And so, whatever. So that's happening. And the years went on, and it was just whatever. And I would just bury my head in the sand and play video games all the time. That's what my life was back then. And then the 2012 election came along, and Obama won again. And I just remember my dad like just being so disappointed and so pissed off. And it was just whatever, and again, I'm still kind of like, well, what's the big deal? Like, nothing bad's happening. You guys are making such a horrible deal out of this, but like, what's I don't get it. Like, what are we supposed to be so concerned about? And then I don't know. I graduated high school in 2013, got my first job as a pizza delivery driver. And I don't know, like, I never, honestly, up until very recently, I never felt like I was directly affected by the economy or any of that. I just was pissed off about the politics just because everybody else was. And again, I never thought Obama was doing anything that bad. It just, to me, it didn't occur to me. I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. Well, I heard it, but I didn't see it. I wasn't affected by it. So, and then this whole time, also my older brother, John, the oldest male in the family, the oldest kid male, he started to get into the politics, and he's a very verbal guy, and very verbal, very like how do I even put this? Like, he lives in a fantasy world, and I'm not saying that as an insult. I'm just saying, like, he's very, like, he'll always say stuff like, shoot for the moon. If you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. Like, he's a big talker, big dreamer, big believer. And it's great, I mean, it's kind of like, sometimes you look at him and it's like, all right, enough is enough. But he's trying to become, I don't know what he's some sort of business owner. I don't know what he's really doing with that right now, but I don't know. I mean, apparently he's making it work, and he's a very determined guy, very strong-willed, and very very masculine, and very, very jovial, and he likes to be the life of the party. He's a big talker, and he loves to be the center of attention, for lack of a better term. So okay. So now he's trying to convince me to get into politics. And this is, now we're talking like 2017, 2018. So like, okay, no, that doesn't make sense because Trump was already in office by then. Whatever. It was before Trump got elected in 2016. He was getting on my case, like, get into politics. You got to do your research. You got to look it up. Because it's like, it's kind of like sports to him in a sense. And he still does listen to like Rush Limbaugh and Dan Bongino and all of them. And, he's very educated on the matter, and he knows his stuff, and he's very passionate about it. It's like sports to him. We're all a bunch of big White Sox fans too, or we used to be. Now they suck. But we used to be big White Sox fans. He's a big Chicago Bears fan. Very into the sports, the politics, like the whole 9 yards, like all of that stuff. And so he's like super into it. And especially like the more you learn about it, the more you want to learn about it. And that's something I'm starting to understand. So he's like telling me to get in politics. I'm telling him to put a sock in it because I just don't really care. It doesn't catch my interest. It's like telling me to get into the stock market. Like, I have no idea even where to begin with that. I tried it once. I don't know what I'm doing. I lost money, never did it again. I want to do it someday. Want to get good at it, want to learn it. but that's a different discussion. So I have no interest, desire, like, for it, whatever. I don't care. But then it was 2016, and that election was coming up, and I remember Trump, just seeing his face starting to come into the social media world. And I'm like, I'm so addicted to Facebook, it's not even funny. I'll just say it straight up. I'm not even gonna beat around the bush. I spend way too much time on Facebook. And so all of a sudden I'm seeing this Trump guy, and I've never, ever, ever heard of Trump in my entire life before this. I never heard of him. I've never seen him. I didn't know he existed. I didn't know he was this crazy, like, famous, successful billionaire businessman that owned all this, like, this crazy successful business and all this. So I didn't know anything about him. And so, of course, like, Facebook is extremely biased and liberal, right? And so I just started seeing, like, immediately people were shitting on him. And it was just because I was seeing it, I was just believing it. I'm like, oh, this Trump guy, apparently he's some asshole. Like, people were just posting memes about him, making fun of him and stuff. And so immediately I had a bad, like, first impression of him. But that was just me, again, being completely in the dark and being young and stupid and just not knowing any better. So I was kind of, like, believing it, like, whatever. Okay, this Trump guy is, like, just. And then that was also around. No, that wasn't COVID yet. I don't know. My timeline's all mixed up here. But so Trump is now running for president, and then, obviously Hillary Clinton is running for president, and I knew, like, Hillary Clinton was no good. I remember knowing that because it's, to me, that's like something you just must know. I don't know. Just like how I knew Obama was no good. I knew Hillary Clinton was no good. And so, and we always vote Republican, obviously. So I'm like, okay, so it didn't take long for me to realize, okay, Trump's the good guy here. And he's, the one we want. And, I talked about it with my family members. They're like, yeah, Trump's, he's good, Republican, pro-life. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, great. And then I started to see some of his interviews and speeches, and I really liked what I was seeing. I really loved his brutal honesty, talking about abortion, how abortion's evil, and talking about just all this stuff, but, like, just speaking the truth. Like, no mask, no facade, no games, no beating around the bush. And I never seen anything like it up until this point. When I would tune in to these speeches or interviews or rallies, it was just kind of the same old shit over and over and over again. Like, they were reading off a script, and I couldn't have been more bored watching it. But then Trump comes out of the woodwork, starts speaking up, and he's saying this stuff that, like, I'm like, where's this guy been all our life, or all my life? Like this is exactly who we need. I don't know. He's just saying stuff. It was just like a breath of fresh air. It was very refreshing to hear him talk about some of these issues and not try to cover it up or filter it or anything. Like, try to, like, be careful not to offend anyone. He didn't give a shit, and I respected that so much. And so, months later, obviously, it's now fall of 2016, and I just started I'm in a Disney College program, which, for those of you who don't know, the Disney College program is, I don't know if that exists anymore, but because after COVID screwed everything up. But it was this program, you apply for it just like a regular job, and I got accepted right away. And you basically live in Orlando, like Disney World area, and you just are paired with random people, like roommate. You have roommates, and you live in a apartment with, like, 2 or 3 bedrooms. And it was actually a very, very nice apartment. In fact, I did a tour of it when I was there. I did a quick YouTube video. I'll put that somewhere in the description if I don't forget. But so, and it's pretty nice too, because, well, so you work, like, full time, but you can only get paid like $10 an hour. It's not really a lot of money. And you just live there, and, like, they take the rent for the apartment right out of your paycheck, so you don't even have to worry about that. You don't really have to pay any bills. And I worked in outdoor food selling like pretzels and hot dogs and stuff, which is the worst job ever. Like being out in the Florida heat for 8 hours a day plus, it was brutal. And I fell into a very severe depression, and that's another topic, another discussion. But for reasons that just are totally out of left field, I fell into a very severe depression. But Trump, I remember like rooting for Trump. And I remember when he won, that was like the happiest day of my life. That was, well, not my life. That was the happiest day of my program. Like that was the one day in the program that I felt, even just a little bit, for just a moment, felt like, okay, everything's gonna be okay. I remember that. Like I remember, like just thinking, like even if this depression, I don't know, like whatever. I remember like just thinking, if this depression kills me, right? Like that's just how I was thinking at the time. Like at least I know they'll be okay, right? And I remember smiling, and I remember getting a little bit choked up, and that was like that was like one of the only times in the entire, it was a 5 month gig, that I felt a genuine sense of peace and joy, knowing that everything's gonna be okay. And he wins, and now people are like, it's all over the news. People are kind of making a big deal out of it, obviously. And so after that, I kind of just forget about it. I don't know. I don't really care that much. I just know that we have a good Republican back in office. He's going to clean up the mess. He's going to fix everything. Again, I still at that time, even still at that time, I didn't feel like I was affected by the economy or any of it that much. Like it just didn't. All I knew is that like watching Trump win was like watching the White Sox win a game, like a baseball game. It was like, yeah, we won, victory, cool. Now what? It was kind of like that. And so the program ends and life goes on, and I'm just seeing Trump do this stuff that's like totally out of left field, but in a good way. Like stuff that I've never, ever, ever seen a president do. Like just, for example, he was giving some sort of rally, and this is, I don't even remember when this was, at what point in his presidency, but he was giving a speech, and at the end of it, he sat down next to his wife, like in the front row, and like they played all this music and put on a fireworks show. And I think even Lee Greenwood was there, and he sang live "God Bless the USA," just like in front of Trump, like. And he's since done that multiple times. But I'm like, this is amazing. Like, I've never seen this before. This is so like out of this world, extraordinarily awesome. And I remember tearing up watching that. And I think that was right around the time when I started to really get invested in Trump and his presidency and pay more attention. Like he caught my attention for sure. And he just kept doing these things and just being just a very warm, honest, open guy, not a care in the world, but obviously very like, of course, very firm and aggressive and assertive when he had to be, but like just totally carefree, laid back, down to earth, and just for the people, totally for the people, just, and I also remember when he was running for office, or when he got in, he said I only want $1 a year. The rest of the money goes back to the people. And I'm like, holy shit. Like he's not fucking around here. And that was when I was like, all right, I really started to fall in love. And I don't know. And then he just kept doing these things that were really blowing me away and surprising me. And I don't really remember at that time like how the economy was or any of it. I still really wasn't paying attention that much. I was just, all I knew was that I like Trump. I really like him. And then so COVID hit. That was in 2019, COVID-19. And that was something that just kind of like came out of nowhere. It started really slow and small, kind of like I remember like Ebola. Like it was kind of like that. And it was like, oh, there's a new virus going around, and they don't really know what this is, and it's people are dying, and it's spreading like wildfire. And it was kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, cool. It'll just blow right over, just like the other ones. But it didn't do that. And I will say this much that I work in a hospital. I'm not going to say what I do or any of that, but I work in a hospital. And I'm only saying that because I distinctly remember hearing someone told me that somebody in the hospital had COVID. And I was like, oh, no way. Like, wow, okay. So it's like now this thing that wherever, I don't even remember where it started in this country, it's within reaching distance now. It's like a stone's throw away from literally where I work, where I live. And I remember getting kind of nervous, but it was just still kind of like, I'm sure he'll be fine, whatever. And then, I don't know, you're hearing more and more stuff on the news, and just all this stuff is happening. And then masks became a thing. And I remember when I first started seeing people wear masks at work, I was just kind of like, okay, weirdos, like paranoid much, like whatever. And but then they required it for all of us, and that's when I started kind of, and then that's when I started to see like masks everywhere in public, Walmart and such, and it was just like very surreal, like oh my goodness, and all this stuff was being said about it, and new information released, and more people are getting it, and I never, like, the only time I genuinely felt fear from this thing was one day when I was at work, and one of my coworkers, I guess, had a buddy who's in the National Guard, and they said that they're about to basically like roam the streets and like get the military involved and basically quarantine people, like tell people to like stay in your houses, and there's a term for it, I can't think of it at the moment, but like they were just saying, like he was saying that they're basically going to lock people up in their houses and you can't leave or whatever. And that's when I started to get really nervous, because again, like being told about like the doomsday and everything and whatnot, I started to think, like, is this it? Like, is this the event that my grandma was, and my aunt was talking about all our lives? Like, are we going to have to evacuate? And, we have like a little refugee, I'm not going to say where it is, but it is this location that we like are supposed to flee to, that if shit hits the fan. And so I'm like kind of looking at my phone, like waiting for my dad to like text us, like, red alert, go, like evacuate. And but nothing really happened, and I just remember that particular day being really scared, and I just wanted to get done at work and go home. And but nothing really ever happened from that, but there was still just a lot of talk about it. And then like the vaccine starts to come out, and it just sounds so incredibly sketchy and just weird. And I never got the vaccine. I'll say it. I never got it. I don't ever plan on getting it. And to this day, I mean, I had to get tested for it a bunch of times, COVID, for work. But I stopped doing that just because, and no one said anything. And, I don't, obviously no one wears, well, people do wear masks, but those people are weirdos. But anyway, so COVID was a thing that kind of, I would say came and went, but it really stuck around for a very long time. Like, we had to wear masks at the hospital well into 2022. And that was very annoying, like very annoying, especially if you weren't vaccinated. You had to keep wearing the mask. And whatever. So then, like, obviously people are saying that this whole thing is set up. It's rigged, totally rigged, for trying to screw up with the election, because the election was coming up of 2020. And people are saying all like conspiracy theories, like, oh, it was like manufactured, this thing. And we still believe that actually it was manufactured. It was, in a lab. And that they brought it over from China and basically like planted this whole seed, set this whole thing up to try to interfere with the election and try to basically get Trump out of office. And so that's when I started to really kind of see the big picture. Like, oh, okay. Okay, I see. Because it stuck around for a very long time. And even after like everyone was vaccinated, it's still like it just kept flaring up. New strains were coming out. All this stuff was going on, and it just wouldn't go away. It refused to die, like literally. And then the election happens, right? Sort of like at the beginning of the end of COVID, more or less, when the vaccinations were still really starting to be mass produced, is when the 2020 election happened. And I remember, and at this time, Trump had already been impeached like twice, and they've been slowly trying to take jabs, trying to like slow him down, trying to take him out or take him down. And I was just like, holy cow! Like this is I've never seen a president be impeached, and so but that didn't go anywhere. And I remember going to the liquor store. It was like the day before the election. I went to the liquor store and bought a bunch of champagne because we were going to celebrate. I was going to celebrate Trump's reelection, and I just was 100% he was going to win. He's running against. I remember when I first heard Biden, his what do you call it? His the other guy, his opponent, and I was like, really? Like that's the best they can do. Joe Biden is the best that they can do. And I was just like, oh my God, Trump's going to win by a freaking landslide. No competition. No worry. This is just a joke. Trump's going to win. Like, whatever. Like, Biden, like I just couldn't believe Biden. Like, they put Biden in, of all people. I remember just asking my mom, they couldn't have found a better candidate to try to take Trump down. And of course, obviously by this time I was very aware of how hated Trump was and how hard they were trying to get him out. So I wasn't really surprised, but I was just kind of like, right from the start, as soon as I heard Biden was running, and I see just this total train wreck of rallies and interviews, and I mean, he literally hid in his basement for like weeks up into the election. Trump was out campaigning like a madman, like crazy, like 5-6 rallies per day all over the country. Biden was hiding in his freaking basement, and maybe did like one or two like rallies. I don't know, but like I don't know. Every time you hear him speak, he's like stuttering. He's getting lost in thoughts. He's tripping over his words, literally tripping up and down stairs, and then he wins. Yeah, well, okay. So first of all, like, okay, election day is here. I go out and vote. I'm like all happy and proud of myself. I actually didn't even vote in 2016. I was still too young and dumb. I don't know. I didn't think it was necessary. 2020 was actually, the first time I voted, in a presidential election. And I, uh, went to work that day, which is like I was just like super lit up. I was very happy. I was glowing. I voted. I did my part, and Trump's gonna win by a landslide. It's great. And then like all of a sudden, like so Trump's leading, and in the polls, I'm watching the scoreboard thing, and this is election day now. He's leading by a lot, but then like it pauses, it stops. And I remember for a few days, it wasn't there. They couldn't determine a winner. And then all of a sudden, out of absolutely nowhere, literally overnight, Biden's number like skyrocketed. And I'm like, there is no freaking way. No way that many people, 81 million votes or something like that. No way that many people are actually voting for him. And why is it like if he was so popular, why is it taking so long to get him to win this election? If he was that popular, why is it taking like days to get results? Wouldn't it be like right away if people loved him so much? And and all this stuff is coming out, and then Biden wins, and I'm just like, no, there's no way. They're gonna redo it. They're gonna recount the votes, whatever, appeal it, and do whatever they got to do. And Trump's like obviously running around like trying to figure out what's going on. And I'm like at work after Biden is sworn in. Like I'm at work and I'm shaking because I'm so like distressed that by like how in the world does Biden win? There's no way. He got more popular votes than Obama. There's no way. So immediately I know something's up. Like whatever. And then COVID's still a thing, obviously. So that's, I mean, it was just such a mess. And then the world, I mean, everything just is completely turned upside down. People are like, there's that, like, people are rioting. Like, I don't know. There was a lot of weird, sketchy, evil stuff going on because apparently, like, I guess people who were anti-Trump supporters were putting on Trump attire and disguising themselves as Trump supporters and storming the Capitol building or whatever. That was like that was in January. And I don't know. And then like more and more stuff starts to happen with the election and with COVID. And man, I just remember like seeing a picture on Facebook of Biden and Harris like holding hands like in the air in victory. And people were like, yeah, like Trump he's out, like Biden's back in, we're good, like the Democrats are back in. And I just remember, sorry, I burped again. I just remember like being in total disbelief and like just like denial. Like there's just no way. So that sort of like just settles in. He settles in. Everything sort of just kind of like continues, proceeds. And I'm just still like for the longest time, just like, all right, like this is going to be the longest 4 years of my life. Like, I don't even know how, if Biden's going to make it all 4 years. He's so old and just frail and he's deteriorating. And sure enough, like over the course of the next 4 years, I'm just watching him and he's like barely hanging on. He's shitting himself. He has to wear diapers now. He can't hardly complete a sentence. They're just totally like gaslighting everything. He's just a total train wreck, a complete mess, totally deteriorating from the inside out. And I'm just like, what am I watching? How are people still supporting this man? He's completely senile. He can barely even stand up at this point. He can't complete a sentence. He's on death's front door. Like he's 70 going on 80 years old. And I'm like, "Oh my goodness. Like how are people falling for this?" And then Kamala's making a ginormous ass of herself. And you know, and like whatever, okay, and eventually I start speaking up about it on my YouTube channel and on Facebook and all that. And then now very recently, more or less, whatever, within the past like year or two, I now I'm starting to really see like gas prices are through the roof. I can barely afford groceries right now, and I'm living on very little. Like I'm very broke. I'm in a lot of credit card debt, and this whole thing is going on with the economy and with the election and with all this stuff and taxes and now like I've gotten to the point where I am very very directly affected by the politics and everything. And not only that, but obviously I'm a Catholic. And here's the thing, like, okay, so I'm looking at Trump now. And over the course of the next several months leading up to this election, this whole year basically, has just been so like unbelievably off the charts pure chaos and wicked evil. And I've never seen anything like it. And I still can't believe I'm living through this. Like this is gonna be in the history books. This is biblical. I mean, this is absolutely like friggin' out of this world, batshit crazy what's going on. Like, no, I can't even emphasize it enough. There's no such thing as over exaggerating that statement. And so, they're trying to lock him up, throw him in jail. They're trying to pull all these like last minute things, like the hush money trial, which happened years and years and years ago. They're trying to lock him up for that, and they're trying to do all the, and then and like they're trying to sue him. They're trying to find him for all these things, like, and I'm just like, oh my god. And then of course, the big old assassination attempt, which was just, I mean, first of all, I wasn't surprised. I was not surprised one little bit when it happened. I was surprised when it happened, like when the timing of it was just, it couldn't have been more, like, just, it couldn't have been worse, because we were on a plane flying to Florida, Disney World, when it happened. My mom was watching it live on her freaking phone, and I was trying to take a nap, and we were in the air for like maybe 15, 20 minutes, and all of a sudden she freaked out. She's like, oh my god, someone just shot him. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, okay, I'm just thinking, like, really? It had to happen now? It couldn't have jeez Louise. It couldn't have happened 2 weeks ago or 2 weeks from now. It had to happen right now. The first day of vacation. And so that completely shook us, like, for the rest of the day, for the rest of that week, for the rest of the trip. That's sort of just in the back of our heads. And we're kind of like, for the first 24 hours, that's all we're talking about, obviously. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm so determined to enjoy this vacation, because like we go every single year as a family to Disney for 2 weeks. It's like usually 10 to 14 days. And I didn't go 2023 because I was broke and I couldn't afford it. Plus I had physical health issues. So I skipped that year. And so there was like this build up for me for the 2024 trip this year. And I like was really excited, really looking forward to it. Like, I had saved up money. I didn't really lose any weight, but I got like most of my health stuff in order. Like, just enough to be able to really kick my feet up, relax, enjoy myself. So I'm like, really, so, I mean, obviously, like, once we knew he was alive and well and everything was okay, it was like, whatever, like, okay, like, back in vacation mode, whatever. But it's just still kind of like lingering, like, in the distance. It's like there, and we want to talk about it, and we were talking about it. It's not like we were like trying to, like, we were in denial, trying to like avoid the topic. But it was just like, it was very surreal, and like the shock value was through the roof, and just like, oh my god, like, I can't, like, just how close he was to actually dying. And then, like, not only that, but, and then now here is the positive, like the bright side. So all that happened. I'm watching him when it happened live. I see him stand up, I'm going to get emotional, put his fist in the air and say, fight, fight, fight. And he keeps his arm in the air as they're escorting him off stage to the car. And everybody in the crowd is chanting USA, and there's blood running down his face. And I'm like, that is the most Donald Trump thing I've ever fucking seen. Like, he just got shot in the face, in the ear. And now he's like, just his immediate reaction, like Secret Service was trying to like hide him, trying to protect him, trying to sort of cover him up. And he like kind of pushes through and puts his fist in the air, saying, like, total defiance, like, don't fuck with me type of attitude. And as soon as he did that, I knew he was fine. Like, as soon as he put his fist in the air, oh man, that was great. He put his fist in the air and walking down those steps, and that's all you see is just his fist in the air. And I'm just like, that man, he's a legend. He just won the election. He just won. Just from that alone. He just got shot, putting his fist in the air, and then you see the picture that comes out of with the American flag in the background, which is going to go in the fucking history books Like, that is going to be the single most important photo ever taken, like, ever in the history of this country. I mean, there's a few others that definitely, will compete with that, but that's going to be, especially after everything else, like, that's been going on. So I like, okay, he's okay. Like, I'm chugging my Bloody Mary on the plane because I'm like, holy shit, like, what's going on? Like, I don't even know. I need alcohol, And so that happens, and it's just like it was just so surreal. But I remember thinking to myself, like, yeah, I'm not surprised this happened. I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. Like, because we were kind of talking about it before the trip. Like, they're trying to take him down. They might try to assassinate him or whatever. And then it happened, and I'm like, oh my God, I just witnessed that. And so now, okay, so that comes and goes. And then, like, it was like 2 days later, he gives another speech, and it's like nothing ever happened. I mean, he talks about it and gives credit where credit is due, and just, obviously, like, goes over whatever, like, the details of everything. And he is just like he's giving credit to God, saying, like, the only reason why I'm still alive is because the grace of Almighty God. No president ever talks like that, ever. No president has ever spoken like that. Maybe like a little bit. They'll plant seeds or breadcrumbs. But to walk away from an assassination attempt and say you're only alive because of God, I mean, come on. Harris wouldn't have done that. Biden, if they got shot, oh man, they would be a total freaking utterly wimp coward about it, and probably just hide for the rest of their lives. Just hide in some safe house, like, just fall off the grid, totally off the radar. But Trump, like, and now, and then he's still going out, doing rallies. Crowds are getting bigger and bigger and louder. And they put up this, like, bulletproof glass thing so it doesn't happen again. But, like, he's stepping out from behind it to go, like, greet people in the audience. Like, just totally not a fearful bone in his body, but, like, so laid back about it, so classy and respectful and humble, and just, like, the way I interpret it is, like, if I die, if I get killed, I'm not going to die a coward. I will die a very brave and courageous man. As a matter of fact, the first assassination attempt, when he put his fist in the air saying, fight, 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 I remember thinking to myself, that's his way of saying, if I die today, you people better keep fighting the fight. Like, if I'm, if I die, like, you guys must keep fighting for this country. That's how I saw that. And, but also, like, the subtext of that is, like, I'm not afraid. Like, fuck this shit. I am not backing down. Like, I will not surrender. If anything, I'm going to just keep pushing even harder. And so then the debates happen. The first one, Biden's a total train wreck. Then they pull him out, then put Kamala in, and I say they as in Obama and co, because everybody knows that it's really him running shit. Biden can't run anything. He can't run a lemonade stand, let alone a country. And so they take him out, put lying Kamala Harris in, and even Trump himself said that's like taking, like, that's as if, like, Trump and Biden are in a boxing match. Biden is losing horribly. He's all beaten up and bloody, and they take him out, put Kamala in to replace him, to finish fighting his fight for him. That's what that's like. And so Kamala and Trump debate, and this time Trump's a little bit messier and less charming. The first debate, he totally dominated. The second one was a little bit messy, but for a good reason. I just interpreted it all as if, like that was his final debate. And I interpreted that as if like he's saying like, you guys need to hear this stuff. Like, how dare you disrespect me like this? This country's in serious trouble. I'm the only one that can fix it, and you guys just keep trying to take me out. And they were ganging up on him, obviously, and fact checking the shit out of him. And he blew up, and he totally just kind of, I wouldn't say fell apart by any means, but it definitely wasn't pretty. But I still interpreted it as like passion and love for this country, and like, how fucking dare you guys like try to keep pulling this crap. And so then, and then after the debate, like, Kamala immediately wants a number on second debate, but he's saying no because, first of all, there's nothing else left to say, and early voting has started. People have already made their decision, and he said he won that debate, so he doesn't care. And he even said that, like, that's how losers think. They lose a match of something and they immediately want a rematch, a second chance. And but I don't know. I mean, that's whatever, up in the air. I'm not going to say too much about that because I don't want to say anything that it sounds stupid. But that comes and goes, and it was kind of messy, but I'm still like, Trump's got this in the bag. And then there's the vice presidential debate, which is like Vance dominated, like totally wiped the floor with walls. And that's the other thing too. He announced Vance as his vice president. It was like literally not even a week after the assassination attempt. And I never heard of this guy. I don't know anything about him, but apparently he's like a Roman Catholic and all that. And he's, a pretty young guy, 40 years old or so. And at first, I don't know, I'm kind of like nervous for him because when he first started like speaking, a little bit bumpy, rough around the edges, but then the debate came, and I'm like, this man is like, he just like, even if Trump lost the second debate, this just saved the day. Like, Vance just saved the day here, and people were saying a lot of good stuff about Vance. So that all happened, and okay, so now we are 2 weeks out, and all this stuff is going on. All this stuff has happened. And I just need to speak up because this is going to be the single biggest election of our life. And I've been praying like crazy. I've been praying rosaries and divine mercies. And I'm actually going to do one on this show, probably next week. I'm going to do Rosary and Divine Mercy Chaplet on air. I don't know, not live, but I'm going to do it as just an extra special little episode. Last ditch effort to do my part in trying to save this country, win the election. But, even after the assassination attempt too, like, we were in the hotel, and it was like the first or second night we were there. And my mom was telling me about this like prophecy that, like, I don't know, back in like the 80s, some guy, I have to look it up and put a link in the description, because some guy, I don't know if it was like a priest, he predicted Trump's presidency. This was in the 80s when Trump was like, it's funny because he predicted not only Trump becoming president, winning the election, but like literally like bringing the country back to God. And I don't know what state the country was in at the time, but apparently he knew things, and he knew that shit was going to get really bad and Trump was going to come in and save the day. And he actually, and the media is not going to talk about this, but he actually put I guess in the Vatican, which is like HQ, headquarters of the Catholic Church, like the holiest building, holiest church in the world. I guess you can put like bricks or something with names on them, embroidered or whatever, onto them, and put it in some room in the church, some whatever area, and for the rest of the basically time, like for like just forever. Now, ongoing thing here. All the popes and bishops in the world, well, not popes, but the Pope and all the bishops, now pray, for these names in the Vatican. And this guy put Trump's name on it because he was that confident that he was going to do this thing. So his name is on a brick in the Vatican being prayed for very, very aggressively every single day. And he is the one. He's supposed to lead this country back to God. And my mom was just saying how, like, oh, when he won in 2016, I was convinced that, he was right. Like, Trump's going to, save the day. But then he lost in 2020, and then I was questioning it. But now he's doing, 2024 is coming out, and like this whole election. And I just see, like, I just keep seeing all this, like, the Democrats just so very desperately trying to take him down, and it's not working. He's unstoppable. They tried to assassinate him, and that right there is, I think that's the nail in the coffin. That seals the deal, because no president ever walks away from that and then loses an election. Like, come on. Like, that was an act of God right there, and he survived by the grace of God. And here's the thing. Like, I'm not saying Trump is a saint. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying that he's totally flawless human being and he's never done anything wrong in his entire life. I know he's done stuff, really, really rotten things, really nasty stuff, just from all over the spectrum. And in fact, when this priest dude told some other priest dude or something about how, yeah, Donald Trump's going to lead this country back to God, and the other guy's response was, Trump? You mean the New York Playboy? And shit, I mean, that's true. I don't know. I mean, part of me doesn't even want to know, but I should know. I mean, I should do my research. But part of the reason why I haven't is because, not because I'm afraid of the truth or afraid of finding it out, but it's because it's like it's not gonna, it doesn't matter. It's not gonna sway me. I mean, if I look it up, it'll just be for my own entertainment and research and knowledge, and education. But it's not like it's gonna change my mind, because first of all, that's way in the past, and second of all, like, that's as far as God is concerned, right? That's all forgiven and forgotten. So whatever. Like, besides, Biden and Harris and all of them have probably done far worse things. Not necessarily like sexual, but like, well, Kamala has, but just, I mean, nobody's perfect here. And if you're gonna judge the splinter in Trump's eye, take the massive log out of theirs, right? So that's my, like, whole perspective on it. So here, just to kind of take us home here. So now I am 110 million% convinced at this point, after everything that's happened, everything I've seen and heard and read and all this stuff, I am 100% convinced that Donald Trump is the one that's going to lead this country back to God. And I believe that this very election is like the Avengers Endgame of our country. It's the Armageddon of our time. It's not just another presidential election here between Republicans and Democrats. This is the, like, final showdown, or a version of a final showdown between good and evil in this world and in this country. And the fact that people are still on the fence about it kind of scares me. And if I don't see a line out the freaking door when I go to vote, I'm going to be a little bit concerned, because yeah, I do believe that the 2020 election was 110% stolen, and that they cheated, and whatever, all this stuff happened. And and now it's like, the only way we're going to win is with numbers, right? And so that's why I'm like, everybody everybody and their mother must get out and vote. Like, if you are a Republican and you are voting for Trump, for better or for worse, if that makes any sense, I don't even know. I'm just saying that to say it. But, like, even if you're just like, you're on the fence, don't really know for sure, you're kind of leaning towards Trump, or you're like me and like super crazy passionate, I guess is what I kind of meant there. Get it? Like, you must vote. Like, we need the numbers, because if he loses, that's it. Our country's done. And it will be pretty much like doomsday, like shit hitting the fan. I mean, it'll probably be like, I don't think it'll happen overnight, but we're going to definitely see lots and lots of darkness and evil and chaos, even more of it, sort of start to come out of the woodwork. And the other thing too is, because Kamala she can't speak for herself in an interview, in a speech. She's always saying the same shit over and over again, beating around the bush, not really answering questions. And now all these older Democrats, former presidents, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Obama, like, first of all, Bill Clinton, I don't even know how old he is. He hasn't said a peep in decades. He hasn't, I don't think, I mean, all these former politicians, presidents, whatever, they have been dead silent for years and years and years. And now they're all coming out of the woodwork because Kamala can't speak for herself. So they got to come out and speak for her and blow smoke up her ass and try to get her to win. And everybody's just buying it. You know, they're feeding them their shit, and then people are eating it right up. And so I don't know what that's all about. But anyway, so whatever. Like, this is it, guys. This election is the like Thanos, like if Avengers Endgame Thanos, or like whatever you want to call it, like this is it. This election is literally going to make or break our country. This is the final showdown here, at least for many, many years, if not decades. Like, this is it. If Trump loses this election, we are so fucked. It's not even funny. And I'm kind of preparing for it. I'm trying to. I'm kind of looking at it like, if Trump loses, like, we're going to get hit by the biggest hurricane, tornado, like snowstorm, flood, like day after tomorrow type of thing. Like, it's going to be like that, but spiritual. And I do believe that this is all it's very spiritual. I mean, our country is definitely like at war right now. It's spiritual. It's invisible. You can't see it, but you can feel it. I can certainly feel it. And I mean, the ripple effect is so massive too. I mean, there's so much mental illness and chaos in the world with all the LGBT bullshit and Black Lives Matter. And there's all this stuff that's just like coming out. That's just like, and climate change. And I'm not saying any of this stuff is necessarily incorrect, but I do believe it is a distraction. There's even conspiracy theories about Hurricane Milton, but I'm not going to get into that because that's whatever. That's not important to me right now. I mean, obviously the hurricane, like, yeah, I care about people who are affected by it, but politically, I don't care about that. So whatever. I'm just like, this is me speaking up. Like, I never talk politics. I never go out of my way to stir the pot, open a can of worms, whatever you want to call it. But this is like such a huge election that we must win. The good guys, the Republicans, the Trump supporters, we must win. And I'm literally like, please, like, I'm begging you guys, like, vote for Trump. And what else was I going to say? Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up here because I think I'm over an hour by now. Yeah. But I have a lot to say, and I'm very passionate about this. And I mean, even Trump himself said it. If you never vote, or if you don't want to vote, like, if you vote for this election, like, you'll never have to vote again in your entire life. So take that how you will. I was going to say something else about something, but I mean, obviously I'm going to be doing more of these, and I'm going to be talking about this a lot more over the next couple weeks. But I believe that's about it. I think I pretty much said everything I wanted to say and make all the very big important points that I wanted to make. But whatever. Trump, like, God bless him. Like, you can't take him down. You can't stop him. He's so powerful and fierce and strong and smart. And every time I watch him speak, every time I watch these like YouTube shorts of him just like talking about whatever, I tear up a little bit. I smile. I feel like everything's going to be okay. He's going to take care of us. He's going to save the day. He knows exactly what needs to get done, why it needs to get done, how to get it done. Like, he is like, and he's going to save the day, literally save this country and possibly the world from like World War III, nuclear attacks, all that shit. Like, Trump is the answer. Well, Jesus, God is the real answer. But I mean, as far as, physically, like, physical human being, like, oh, and that's the other thing I was going to say too. I do believe that if Trump loses, then it's going to probably be like time for the second coming. Like, it's either going to be Trump or Jesus that's going to have to save us. Otherwise, I don't know what else is going to happen. But I think that's pretty much it. I think I got just about everything out of my system there. Um, so once again, there you go. There you go. Excuse me. Yeah, Trump must win at all costs, and I. That's all I have to say about that. I don't know, because if she wins, then your guys going to see it. It's not going to take too long for you to see why that can't happen, and if you vote for her, then why it's a big mistake. And keep in mind, if you're voting for her, you're voting for the destruction of the United States of America. You're voting for, and the other thing I'm just going to say real quick is that most people I feel that are voting for Kamala are only voting for her because they are against Trump. And most of those people don't even know why they're against Trump. They're just against him because everybody else is, because it's a bandwagon thing, because everybody else hates him, especially in these Democratic states. I live in Illinois. We're very Democratic here. Not we, they are. So I've come to the conclusion that at least 75, 80% of the people who are voting for Kamala are only voting for her because they are against Trump, and that is just absolutely pathetic and petty. I mean, not pity. I pity them, but it is petty, and it's disgusting and rotten, and there's so much evil stuff going on. And but Trump, he doesn't give a shit. He does. He ain't scared. We ain't scared, right? So that's all I have to say about that. I'm gonna go and wrap this up. But once again, I'm just gonna say it. Get out and vote. I mean, if you're gonna obviously vote for Trump, then get off your ass and go vote for him. And I want to see a line out the door when I go vote, or else I'm gonna be worried, because a lot of people don't even want to bother because they don't want to be part of it. They want nothing to do with it. They don't want to be responsible for voting for someone. They keep saying that keep saying that Trump is like the American Hitler, and it's like, listen, like, don't be foolish. Don't just do your research. I mean, I should do more research on myself, but just don't believe everything you hear, and do your research, and just keep in mind that there's supposedly this prophecy about Trump leading the country back to God and everything. And again, like, just remember, he walked away from that assassination attempt totally defiant, gave credit to God, and he even actually revisited that location, which is pretty incredible. He even said, as I was saying, which I think is just awesome. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. I mean, he walked away from that assassination attempt and just was so humble and down to earth about it. And I don't know. I just feel like God's not going to put him through all that only for him to lose again. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up and leave everything, up for interpretation. Obviously, feel free to comment and email me, aj.unlimited123@gmail.com. I'm always checking it, and all I see is spam. So I would love to hear from you guys, and I can't wait to hear from you guys. I'm sure I will eventually. And just shout outs to Donald Trump, and God bless the USA, and let's fucking win this thing, because we're close. I do believe that Trump's gonna win by a landslide. I mean, I certainly don't think she will, unless they cheat again, which they probably will. They'll try, but I don't think they're gonna be successful this time. Too many people know about it. Too many people are suspicious. Too many people are aware. I think we're a lot more prepared this time around. I'll tell you what, it's been the longest 4 years of my freaking life, and I just can't wait for him to be back in, for everything to go back to normal, for peace in this world, at least in this country, at least in my personal life, right? And I just want to see life go back to how it was in like 2005, when everything was just okay and happy and not a care in the world, and everything was good. Everything was fine. Everything was okay. That's the world I want to see again. That's the world I want to live in, because I want to I want to get married and have kids someday, man. Like, I want to start my own business, open up a bar, like, do this YouTube stuff, like, write a book about my mental health struggles. Like, I want to even, like try to become an actor of some kind. Like, I don't know. Like, I want to be in a show like The Office. That's actually one of my hopes and dreams. But I'm not going to be able to do any of that if Kamala wins. I'm not going to be able to do any of that because the economy is going to be so bad and everything. So I can kiss all that goodbye, and which is why I'm like, please vote for Trump. So that's it. I'm done. So thank you guys for listening, for tuning in, and hopefully I'll receive some feedback here. But either way, I will definitely be doing this. I don't know if I'll be doing this on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. I really don't know yet. I still want to do regular vlog type videos and live streams, but I'm gonna mess around with it. But this is just the icebreaker, experimental type thing, and we'll see where it goes. And I will try to have like guests on as well at some point or another. But thanks again for listening. Please vote for Trump. He must win this election. And yeah, God bless Donald Trump. God bless the USA. God bless all of you. And I'll see you next time. Peace.